Welcome. I wanted to give my take on the dark and terrible campaign that Abraham ran for Josh and I on Monday. We're a few sessions in, and I really enjoyed this last session. It felt very dynamic, lots of things happening. We had a couple very tense situations, and we actually had our first fatality. One of my henchmen, and I found out afterwards, it was just kind of an at random event. But these henchmen that I have to admit, I have grown somewhat fond of these two henchmen that I have with me, my two mercenaries. I shouldn't be. They're taking half of my treasure, but I have grown fond of the two, and it is fun sometimes. And if you do want to, suffer through a few minutes of watching an actual play, I try to do little things where I'm having a conversation with them, but you only hear my side of the conversation, and so you can hopefully, in some instances, you can imply what the henchman was saying. I don't know if it works or not, but I do have fun doing that from time to time. Anyway, Matthias, one of my henchmen, died, just straight up gone. Unlucky, what have you. We had evidently skipped through a lot of other side quests, and so we found ourselves up against a much more deadly foe than we were prepared to handle. And that was it. He bought the farm. It was done, and I really thought that was cool. It was kind of a sudden thing, and what I liked about it is it gave Josh and I, as we tried to stay in character, it gave us a dramatic event that we could have some fun with. Character deaths aren't necessarily fun, but we enjoyed interacting with the scene and what had transpired. And I did too. I kind of felt like, well, what would I do? Like, what would Espen, my character, do in that circumstance? And so I enjoyed that a lot. Again, Abraham is really good at what he does. I have to give him props for running the game as well as he does. We're enjoying pulling on the various threads and seeing where they go. And one other comment I want to make before I wrap up my commentary on that particular session is, I think it's excellent that our choices, when we make choices, then other choices are no longer available. And I think that's just excellent. There's always a temptation. I can speak as one that runs games normally, not as a player, but as the game master. There's always a temptation to say, well, if the players didn't go to this now, I'll just keep that in my back pocket and they can go to it later. And I think that's a mistake. I have to say, it's a mistake to do that. I've heard it called, and this is a new term that I don't know, I came across it just a few weeks ago because of other comments of YouTubers that I follow. The idea of the quantum ogre, or the quantum dungeon room, where no matter what choice the players make, that encounter is just going to happen no matter what. You take the door on the left, doesn't matter. It's the same result as if you took the door on the right. I think that's a mistake. And it's a real temptation because of the time, especially those of us that are really enthusiastic about the hobby, the time that we spend getting things ready and designing the encounter. And I've played in some games where encounter design was a significant endeavor. Like, it was a lot of time for me to get that encounter ready. Well, what if the players just say, we're just not interested, we're just not going to do that encounter? Well, what then? So Abraham's not doing that, and I appreciate that, because I know he is spending a lot of time to get ready for this sandbox campaign. And yet we chose to go to a certain location, and because we made that choice, other things were not available to us. And when we tried to go back and address those other leads, we just couldn't do it. Things had transpired. We could have got there in time if we had prioritized that, but we didn't. We thought it was better to go a different route altogether. And so I think I think that's really good. And it makes the world feel, it helps with that concept of, yes, this is a make-believe world, but we can still have that verisimilitude, that, fancy word, it seems believable. We can suspend our disbelief that it's for a moment as we pretend, because that event just wasn't put on pause until Josh and I could get to it. Things happened, and oh well, there's always an opportunity cost. And I think that the idea of trade-offs is an important one, and so I really appreciate that. I think Josh is an excellent player, but I think that Abraham is really demonstrating that well. And afterwards, I look forward to finding or hearing, when we're done this adventure that he's running, I look forward to finding out what other things could have happened, but they couldn't have happened because we didn't choose that. We chose something else. So it feels like our choices matter, and that's an excellent. I think that's perhaps the highest praise that I can give Abraham. He's running a game where our choices, the player choices, have impact on the world, but the world also is going to just happen. And so we have an opportunity to do something to it, but if we choose one path and neglect others, then that doesn't mean that those other paths will just find their way in front of us on their own, which I think is excellent. Those are my thoughts. Check it out if you get a chance and watch a few minutes, so however much of it you can stand. Actual plays are a bit of an acquired taste, I think, but from one that's actually in the game, I can say that we're having a lot of fun. It's quite good. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.